What is up, guys? It is your LOL support here, and today we're going to be bringing you a guide on Vi, the Piltover Enforcer. Without further ado, let's get into some of Vi's abilities. Vi's passive, Blast Shield. Activated abilities grant a shield equal to 10% of Vi's maximum health for 3 seconds when they hit an enemy, 18 seconds on the cooldown. This passive is really good as far as what makes Vi able to duel 1v1 or even be very effective in the team fights at higher levels, because her blast shield cooldown does go down, but it's a shield that basically duplicates as the passive in the defensive tree. I forgot what it was called, some runic armor or something like that, but it basically gives you a shield, and this shield strength goes up with the maximum health, which is a reason that, along with building a little bit of damage on Vi, you want to build a little bit of the health aspect and the tanky aspect in order to get a higher shield. Kind of like how Riven, you build damage to get a beefier shield with her. Vi's Q, Vault Breaker, charges a powerful punch that carries Vi forward. On the first cast, slows her movement speed by 15% while increasing damage and dashing over a range in 1.25 seconds. The second cast dashes forward, dealing damage to 50 plus 9 to 100 plus 18, depending on how long you charge up her fist for, physical damage, and applying Denting Blows, which is one of her abilities, to all enemies hit, and deals 75% damage to minions and monsters. Stops upon cooling with an enemy champion. Stops upon colliding with an enemy champion, and knocking it back. So this is your primary ganking tool when using Vi in the jungle, and this is going to be one of your primary initiating tools as well, along with her ultimate, which we'll discuss in a bit. The longer you do charge this, the more damage it does do, so I do recommend, if you can get all the way charged up, that you do it for the maximum amount of damage. This Vault Breaker will carry you through different walls on the Rift as well, so don't be afraid to use it as a semi-flash, if you will. Her next ability, which is her W ability, Denting Blows. Every third attack on the same target deals an additional 4% plus 0.4%, which scales with damage, of the target's maximum health as physical damage, reducing it, and it reduces its armor by 20% and grants Vi a 30% attack speed for 4 seconds. Now, this passive is very similar to the Silver Bolts of Vayne. However, you can have multiple stacks active of Denting Blows, compared to Vayne, who you can only have one stack on the Silver Bolts on one person. Once you attack another person, it goes away. With Vi, it is different. You can have multiple stacks of Denting Blows on different enemies at the same time, as you see right here as I'm clearing the minions. Her next ability, Excessive Force, causes the next basic attack to deal 5 plus 86 plus 0, because I don't build any AP on Vi, physical damage to its target and the enemies behind it. And this will move through through enemies and kind of do a little shockwave. A noteworthy thing, if you are stealing the enemy's wraiths or doing an enemy's camp, try not to use Excessive Force unless you know they're not around, because Excessive Force's animations will go through the wall, and if they're clever, they can pick up on that and see where you are in their jungle. Her ultimate, Assault and Battery, targets an enemy champion and chases it down, knocking it up for 1.25 seconds and dealing 200 plus 20% or 20 physical damage. While charging, Vi cannot be stopped and will knock aside an enemies in the way, dealing 75% damage to them. This is one of your key initiating abilities, and this ability also allows you to get to the back line of teams where their ADC might be residing. Although it's not always the most beneficial thing to just charge gung-ho into the back line, if it is the better decision for you to make, that skill is a great tool of bringing out the ADC or initiating on someone who is just simply out of position. So without further ado, after introducing some of her abilities, let's get into some of the things on Vi that you should know. Vi's a very strong champion when it comes to carrying games. Her ability to duel and her ability to gank effectively are very key to what makes her such a successful player. As you'll see right here, I'm able to prevent a potential 2v1 just by knocking into the Nasus and getting getting my Shyvana the first blood. She does a tower dive, which isn't the best option, but right here, Wukong gets cocky, tries to kill me, smack him around. A good combo with Vi, especially if you're gonna 1v1 like that, is doing her Denting Blows, or Excessive Force, Vault Breaker, Excessive Force. And also after you do your Vault Breaker, you let an auto attack go in, because Excessive Force is an auto attack reset, and that is a quick way to apply her 3 stacks of Denting Blows while getting a high amount of burst damage. You saw that I was able to do that on the Wukong, and I dropped about 250 health very easily in a very early fight. So that's another combo that you can do with Vi. As you see, when I clear through the jungle, I try and position it so that my Q goes through all of the minions, because once you line up and go through all of the minions, you can just simply click E and it will go through every minion, maxing out the damage that you're able to do with that combo and maxing out your wave clear efficiency. It's for this reason that I played Vi a lot in the top lane during Season 3. I've yet to do that very much in Season 4. However, her wave clear is phenomenal, and her harass with her excessive force is very very potent. You can get to enemies hanging out in the back line, and you're able to push waves a lot quicker. So on the first back or the first base, you saw me pick up a Spirit Stone, which is a pretty standard item for a lot of junglers, and you do see me pick up 2 longswords. However, I will not be building that into the damage line of the Spirit Stone line. I will be building Spirit of the Ancient Golem as always. However, with the 2 longswords, I will be building that into a Brutalizer. Now, the reason I like to have Brutalizer on Vi is because of the cooldown, allowing me to get more of my abilities off, obviously, as cooldown allows. However, with cooldown, what you're allowed to do is your excessive force comes off of cooldown a lot quicker, and so does your Vault Breaker, which is why I like having it. It's a very useful thing to have on Vi. At least 20% cooldown reduction is a very beneficial thing to have with her. Right there, Wukong tried to invade my jungle, but to no avail. All I did was secure my buff, go around, and get away, because I did see that the Vel'Koz was coming in with the gank to help him out. So it was going to be a 2v1, and that was a fight I didn't want to go into. Right here, I come in through the back of the lane, and you're going to see I'm waiting around for the Annie to relinquish her stun. And when I see that her stun is down, I make it a point to go in on her. So right when she overcommits, I'm going to land into her, knocking her back, giving our Ezreal the kill, going in for the Wukong. I see that he decoys. I back off of the decoy just to not take any damage. And right here, we are sitting in a good spot. I start hitting on the tower. Both of them are low, so I know that they can't contest this tower, and that the only way that this tower was not going to take as much damage would be for Vel'Koz to rotate bottom, in which case Ziggs could either follow or push tower. So what I'm doing is I'm basically giving the enemy team the options and letting them make the decision. However, each option will end up hurting them. Right here, I call for Dragon because I knew it was a safe bet to go for, because I saw that the Wukong had a base with about 200 health, and Vayne had to leave as well, with Annie being dead. So I knew that this Dragon would be fairly uncontested, with my eyes being on Vel'Koz in the mid lane, with the Ziggs keeping him in sight. So we pick up the easy Dragon. And that's one thing that you guys don't want to forget, is always get objectives. As far as dragons and towers are concerned, you want to pressure objectives. That's the only way you're going to win in this game. If you pointlessly go through this game and just gank a lane, don't tax or don't push the lane, you just gank it and leave, you're not ever going to progress in the game, and the enemy team is just going to end up doing what you didn't do, and you guys are going to end up losing. So right here, just clearing out my jungle, securing my buffs, and going back to pick up my next item, which will be the, let's see what I end up getting here. I think I might have gotten the Brutalizer. Yep, I went to get the Brutalizer, picked up 2 wards and 2 health potions, because after my second round of buffs, what I usually like to do is I like to start warding up their jungle in order to either counter jungle or just keep eyes on the jungler. It is your job as a jungler to keep everyone on the map safe, as far as having them know where the enemy jungler is at all times. So right here, we saw a good opportunity to go for the gank. It was not a successful gank because the Vel'Koz ended up ulting. I did use my assault and battery to knock him up and to get the get his ult off. I think it's a life form decay, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't really like Vel'Koz all too much. I feel like he's just like every other new champion. They make his ratios ridiculously overpowered just so that they can sell him for a bit. And then once that happens, they're just going to bring down his ability power, and then he's going to be useless. He's going to go into the scrap heap of junglers, or scrap heap of mid laners that Riot has made. And that's just a personal opinion. He just lacks a lot of the kit that most players would need as a mid laner. He has no escape. He has certain skill shots, but they're very inconsistent as far as landing them. So right there, I saw what was happening to the Shyvana, so I responded by having good map awareness. And right now I'm pushing down tower because I know I personally killed the Vel'Koz and made it so that he could not get back in the lane. And the reason I wanted to flash for that, because I knew he was worth a little bit of shutdown gold, and he was just going to suicide, so I figured a flash would be worth a little bit of shutdown gold. So right here, what we're doing is we see Wukong in the mid lane, so I make it a point to pressure the tower. We end up tower diving this Nasus with great ease. Wukong coming in, trying to save his teammate, but he was too late. We are in the driver's seat right now as far as being the dictators of where the jungler is going and how he's going to react. So right here, I saw that the Wukong was top lane and that he was going to be clearing out the minion wave and probably going to go check his blue buff, because as I saw by the timer, it was about that time for him to get his blue buff again. So by having his ward down, I was able to see his buff, and I saw him walk over the river ward, so I was able to anticipate where he was going. So right here, I go around with my ward there, go around, throw down the smite, take his blue. He's upset right now, so that's the importance of wards at the enemy's buffs and around the popular travel routes of the enemy junglers. Right here, he's going to try and steal my red. I knew it. I knew he was going to be a little bit salty at me for taking his buff, so he wisely backs off, tries to go on the Ziggs. I don't know if he ended up getting the kill. He did not. So we are able to secure our buff and take the Wukong's blue buff, giving us the advantage in this matchup. So right there, finished off the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, giving me the tenacity, tankiness, and a little bit of CDR. So right now I have 20% CDR with 10% or plus 10 armor pen from the Brutalizer and 25 AD. So I am a Vi that is going to be hurting. A lot of people speculate whether you should go damage Vi or tanky Vi. I do prefer damage Vi at the start with the early Brutalizer. However, after the Brutalizer, I pretty much only build tanky. So right here, we're going to slow this down a bit. It's not a huge team fight, but it's just us chasing down the Annie and the Vayne. So right here, Ezreal does a surprise ult. I see that Vel'Koz is here. I tell my team this probably isn't the best fight to go in on, but I do end up going for the Vayne. However, her knockback on the Condemn ends up screwing me over, and we have to bail out of this fight. Now, the reason that we did not win that fight was because we engaged very poorly on each target, and we weren't able to focus. So I wanted to let you guys know, like, you know, that's what happens when you don't do a fight right. So I stay in lane because I have enough health to protect the tower. If you guys have to stay to protect the tower, do it, because if you don't run the risk of getting killed, then it's always a smart idea to hold lane, because the tower gives the enemies global gold, and you don't want to give that up. Right here, I know that they're doing dragon. Not really anything we can do about that. So try and get away from the Annie and the Vayne. Right there, get a successful flash out, because Vayne helps me out with a little bit of a speed boost with her condemn, and I'm able to make it out of that thing alive. So we end up giving up a dragon. However, we were able to save a turret and prevent them from getting global gold from turrets. And although they were able to get it through dragon, they were not able to get closer to our nexus. So I know dragon's probably worth a little bit more, but it's better than having them take a dragon and a turret. So right here, going to be clearing out our blue buff again. Some of the things I like about Vi is that no matter what happens in the game, no matter how your team is doing, you can always end up carrying with her. She's a very very strong champion, very potent champion when it comes to taking care of business, as far as doing damage and also providing CC. Okay, so right here, I wanted to slow this down for you guys. I get 1v4'd under tower, and had Ziggs landed his ult, or had I had just a little bit more of CDR, I would have been able to take a 4v1. I'm going to explain this step by step, so we're going to go with the 0.5. So right here, Nasus is taking tower aggro, and by standing in the circle and attacking the Wukong, I prevent Nasus from being able to go in, because this is damaging me. And although I'm taking a little bit of damage, I have my blast shield absorbing the damage of this. So by standing in that, I'm neutralizing Nasus from getting towards me. And if Wukong tries to attack me, he'll get targeted, obviously. So by standing in there, I'm preventing the Nasus from coming in. When I see that the circle goes away, I want to get away from these two and go towards the support and Vel'Koz just for the time being, and forcing them to come this way in order to kill me. So Wukong goes in. I use my assault and battery to knock up Wukong in order to escape him and also to get away from these three. So now I'm on, from here, getting pinched in by two people. I'm now on this side where I'm faced against Nasus, and these three are out of position. So I slam him down. I'm walking away just to try and get away from it. Right here, I go back in. Had Annie not been there, and had I been able to slide through, I might have been able to survive just a bit longer. However, she did end up stopping me. Vel'Koz doing a bit of damage. Nasus shoving some Qs down my throat. I'm trying to hit whoever I can. Wukong throwing down the ult. I'm getting abilities left and right. But you see, I was able to drop a full health Wukong. I don't remember how much health Vel'Koz had, but I was able to survive a long time because I was able to juggle attention well, and juggle attention in a way that I was able to survive a long time. So that was just quick thinking in the moment, doing my best to work with what I had. My flash was down, so I could not flash. Had I been able to flash, that would have also been a little bit different. But yeah, that was just a cool thing that ended up happening that I'd like to show you guys, just in case if you're ever in that situation again, you can use similar tactics to what I used there. So right here, Vayne's pushing in the lane. I want to stop her from free farming and shove out lane a little bit. I see that everyone's kind of spread out on the map, and just messing around with Neon Strike by. So right here, I tell my team I'm going in on Vel'Koz. I'm using everything. So right away, I charge up the Fault Breaker, hit him, Denting Blows, use my ult, and force him to flash. And then I allow for my Ziggs to get the buff. If you're going to commit on a Vel'Koz, what I've found is you have to commit 100%. Because Vel'Koz thrives from keeping you in front of him. So if you're right on him, he won't be able to deal any damage. And that's even true with his ult. If you guys have to go against a Vel'Koz, I highly recommend playing like an Akali or a Talon who has a blink ability to the enemy. Even a Lee Sin would be great, because Talon not only silences him, so I don't know if that stops the ult, but I know for sure that it puts you behind the Vel'Koz, which is, if you're behind the Vel'Koz, his ult does no damage to you. So that's a little thing to note about Vel'Koz and when you're fighting him. So right here, Shyvana goes in. I was about to go in on that Nasus, but then I saw the Wukong, so we ended up backing out and avoiding a very bad fight. If we had engaged on that, we definitely would have lost. So right here, I'm warding up his red buff. It's not safe for me to be there anymore, so I end up leaving. That's just being aware of your enemies' buff timers and everything like that, knowing when each buff is going to be up. So if you look at my item set, I picked up Merc Treads just for the amount of damage that not only Vel'Koz was doing, but also some of the CC that the enemy team had. And also I pick up a Phage, and I'm going to be building that Phage into a Triforce. The Phage grants me a little bit of tankiness as well as a bit of move speed when I hit enemies. Right here we're doing just the dance around tower. I'm waiting for Annie's stun to come off of readiness. Once her stun is down, you'll see me do a hard engage when the opportunity presents itself. Right here, so right here I noticed that the Vel'Koz was out of position, and I end up flashing for him, but I ended up flashing into a circle, which prevented me from doing anything, which was kind of suckish. But anyways, I end up vault breakering to him so that I can knock him up and immobilize him. And what that ends up doing is that ends up putting our Ziggs on their Annie, allowing for him to get an easy kill while also allowing for the Ezreal to catch up. So we're going to play this out slowly. As you see, Nasus is trying to protect his Vel'Koz, but I am smacking the Vel'Koz around, making sure I don't let up. Once I see the Ezreal go down, Nasus falls, beautiful Sona ult, and we're able to clean up that fight just because I saw that the Annie's stun went down and I went aggressive. That's the only way you should engage a fight if they have an Annie on their team, because Annie's AoE stuns are very ridiculous, and you should also you should always not take that away from her. So right here, going in for a Baron, we are kind of low health, but we knew that we were going to be able to get it as far as the damage output was concerned, and just juggling the Baron attention. You can Baron. Most people are afraid of Baron very early game, and I don't know why. A lot of people could Baron level 12 very easily and not have to worry about it. You just need to be able to coordinate with your team on how to juggle the attention of Baron. So we end up going back. Didn't pick up anything. I think I'm waiting just for a little bit of more things. Or a little bit of more money to pick up more things. There we go. So right there, just waiting around for the Annie stun to go down. You see I'm not initiating when I don't need to. So right there, Vault Breakered in, but it was out of position, so I didn't end up pursuing that fight. We're going to slow this fight down. Shyvana's going in. I make it a point to try and catch up to the Vel'Koz. However, when I see that Shyvana's pretty much got him, I go onto the Annie and prevent her from stunning our Shyvana under tower. That was just a very quick and easy call for me to make. Either we weren't going to catch Vel'Koz or not. So I saw Wukong decoying in, so I made a guess of where he was going to be with my Vault Breaker, and I ended up hitting him, and the knockback stopped his ult from hitting as many people, so he had to end up flashing for that. And that's just being aware of your surroundings, being aware that, yep, the Wukong is coming in. Where will he be? He'll be right here. So I'm trying to go around, take their jungle. When I see that nothing on their top side of the jungle is up, I look at my minion wave. Pay attention to your guys' minion waves, because your minion waves reflect directly how their minion waves are going. So if you're going to backdoor and you're standing right here and you're about to go in, like, watch your minion wave, because if your minion wave passes right here, you'll be able to see when they pass, and you'll be able to get in without being noticed. So always check your minion waves to check the progress of their minion waves. So I just noticed that a lot of people don't do that, so I just wanted to tell you guys that. So once their minion wave gets up here, I lead them in, walk towards them, get them all in a line. I did miss the line just a bit because they were still walking. I didn't bunch them up as well as I should have. So going to the base, or going to the bush just to base and buy. We have a fairly good team comp right now, which is why we're doing so well. Our Shyvana is doing really well against the Nasus in top lane. I am 4-1. Our Ziggs is 2-5, but that is going against a Vel'Koz right now with his ridiculous ratios. So I did pick up my Triforce. I'm still sitting on my Brutalizer. You will see me turn that into a Black Cleaver soon. Just a lot of other items that I needed to get at the moment that were worth a lot more than finishing a Brutalizer. So right there, I'm letting the Vel'Koz know if he is out of position, I will capitalize. A lot of League of Legends depends on fear, and if you're not able to strike fear into your enemies, you're not going to do well as a League player. You need to let them know that you are a no BS type of person, and if they do step up and they are in the wrong position, you will mess them up. So right here, I do get overconfident with my abilities, so we're going to break down a failed 1v4 attempt again. So I see the low health Nasus. I go in. I end up missing, which sucks. So I lost a lot of my damage. If I hit him, I might have been able to get 1 kill. So you see, when you Vault Breaker, or when you do your ult, Assault and Battery, you don't necessarily want to go for the front line. Sometimes going for the back line is better because you do the same amount of damage to everyone you pass through. So you get more damage off on your ult. So that's why if it's possible, you want to ult somebody who's behind maybe 1 or 2 people, and that will allow you to get a little bit more damage off on your ult compared to just ulting the first person you see. And it allows for you to knock back other enemies. So I didn't end up knocking back the Vel'Koz, and he drops the Tibbers down on me, and Vel'Koz drops down the ult, and that thing is just shredding me to pieces just because of the true damage and everything that is involved with it. Ziggs ult comes down, unable to hit the Vel'Koz for the execute, but that is just an example of being cocky and being very overconfident. That is not an example of learning your limits. That is an example of just making a poor choice. There is a difference between that. I always tell my viewers, always test your limits. However, that is an example of not testing your limits. That is an example of just flat out feeding. So don't do that. Just a word to you guys from the wise. Or I guess I wasn't very wise in that fight, but I cleared out a couple jungle camps just to get rid of my conservation stacks on my Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Right here, I see that the best way to fight this fight. Okay, let's back it up just a bit. Where are we at? 32. So let's go 31, 43. Okay. So right here, I have one of 2 options when I'm sitting in the bush charging up my Q. I see the Vayne coming over. I can make one of 2 choices. Now, if you check the map, let me go over to the manual camera. There's 2 fights going on. There's a fight going on with our mid laner versus Wukong and Vel'Koz, and there's the fight of me and Ezreal versus their ADC and support. My priority, although I wanted to kill Vayne, was elsewhere. Because I'm in the jungle, she could just simply condemn me to a wall and just do massive amounts of damage. However, by fighting out here, I'm able to cut off a Wukong who is alone in a 1v3 situation. So instead of making the choice on Vayne, I end up turning around, going through the wall, and trying to hit the Wukong. I do end up missing. His ult knocks me up. However, right when I land, I see the Shyvana come in, so I do a Vault Breaker. I tried to hit the Wukong, however, I just barely missed. So I end up knocking down the Vel'Koz, just a little slam dunk. Wukong charges in. What we end up doing is I back out just a little bit because I didn't know if Annie had her stun up and if she was going to use it. So she did end up using it, but because I waited around, I was able to go back in, hit the Annie, allow for my Ziggs to get the kill, and right now we're in a good chase position. Nasus withered me, so I realized I was low health, and with Vayne having her final hour on, I realized it wasn't smart for me to stay. It was smarter for me to back off, let my Shyvana and the rest of my team chase, and end up getting more kills. And once the wither does wear off on me, I do end up coming in back with my team. However, I realize that they pretty much have the rest of this covered, so I end up going to clear out some objectives. So go over here, tell them I'm going to solo dragon, don't worry about it, just keep pressure in mid and speed it up. I'm able to clear dragon. Clear out the bot minion wave. Always stay up in farm. If you can check my farm compared to my enemy jungler's farm, I am at 139. He is at 121. Not that much of a deficit. However, it is a small deficit that will result in more gold for me. Right here, I wanted to go on the Vayne, but again, not the right place to do it. That's just because I know Vayne, I know how she works, I know where she is strongest as far as fighting, and just by not fighting her there, you're able to skip out on a lot of deaths and prevent a lot of death. So right here, we thought they were going to do Baron, however, they didn't end up doing it. The fail ward made me have to put another ward down. I thought I was just kind of like, oh damn, really? Come on, Riot, you're really gonna do that to me? But what can you do? So just waiting around. I see the Shyvana get caught out. They are all four in the top lane. However, because she got caught out, and because I saw that all 5 members were in the top lane, I take advantage of Vi's very potent pushing abilities, and Vayne just gets a tad bit too close to me, and I do end up killing her, and I take down the turret and end up taking down the inhibitor. They did, however, end up taking our inhibitor as well, I believe. There it is. Okay, yeah. They did end up taking our inhibitor. However, we do exchange inhibitors, and I am able to kill their ADC. And we do end up picking more kills up, as far as me picking up a kill on the Annie, and just overall just cleaning up house. So right there, our mid laner reconnected, so we are able to get back into this fight as a 5v5 compared to a 4v5, which we were handling a little bit earlier. Shoutouts to Ethan, whose computer is getting all effed up right now. If any of you guys know what's happening with him, it's not a DDoS, but it is a his computer just freezes to the point where he can still talk to me. However, his computer just freezes and he's not allowed to do anything. So if you guys know what that is, let us know. So it's just right here is just not really a good fight for us to be in. There are certain areas where we should have engaged, but we didn't, and that's why we ended up having to back out of this fight. Oh man. Sorry about that. Just came home from practice, so I'm very tired. But I wanted to get this content out to you guys because I love you guys so much. So right there, saw the chance to save my Ezreal by hitting a Q onto the enemy Wukong and knocking him back. So I'm able to save my team. We end up picking up a ace for 1 death, and I will consider that very worth. I don't think anyone would consider that not worth. So just sacrificing myself for the good of the team, and it ended up being a worthwhile sacrifice. We're going to speed this up a bit. I don't know if there's going to be another team fight. I really hope there is. I remember there being a very good team fight, but I could be wrong. So right here, just clearing out the minion waves, staying up in farm, as I always say, is a benefit. Knocking down the... I am so sorry. Man, I am tired. So right there, I was just picking up the passive stacks on my Q. Okay, so we're gonna disengage from this fight. They did end up picking up Baron, which bad news for us. However, we are able to recover from it because we do have a better team comp as far as team fights are concerned, in my opinion. So we're gonna slow this down. I'm watching that Annie and I'm waiting for her stun to go off of cooldown, and the second it goes off, you will see me consider attempts to go in. I'm debating whether I want to go in on these 3. Again, right now we are fighting 2 different fights. I'm standing around here, they're standing around there, so we're just kind of doing the dance around turret, waiting for one person to either get anxious and make a wrong move, or for the other team to just engage. So we're doing this dance, doing the safety dance. I noticed Annie's getting a little bit low. She gets taken out, and right on that, you're going to see me realize what just happened. I see that Annie got taken out. Vayne is out of position. You're going to see me pull out my Vault Breaker very soon once I get within range. Point my finger. I see who I'm going for. I knock back the Vayne, and I knock up the Vel'Koz, and I slam him down onto the ground like any good person should. And the Shyvana following up with the Wombo Combo with her ult going in and destroying Vel'Koz while he's knocked up in the air. So right there, their team separated and allowed for us to pick up an easy 3 kills on their team, because the Nasus ended up splitting as well as the Wukong. So you're going to see us push up lane, and this will be the last team fight that we do, and this will be the end of the match. Hope you guys enjoyed this Vi guide. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. I'm going to there we go. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you guys have watched any of our past videos and checked out any of the comment sections, you'll see that we replied to all of our comments within 1 or 2 days of someone asking it. So feel free to leave a comment. I can promise you guys we will get to each and every of those comments. I hope you guys really enjoyed this guide. I hope you found it very useful. I hope that you were able to learn something about Vi and be able to play her very effectively in the future. As far as video content for the future, I will be adding more to the LSG series. I'm probably going to put out some content for a lot of the newer League players as far as role descriptions and things like that. However, that's still up in the air. I am also going to be introducing a new series called How to Beats, and those are basically champion guides / champion counter guides on when you get into a match with somebody who you necessarily haven't played against, how to beat them. It's going to be a quick little 2-minute videos, just so that you can watch it really quick before you get into the loading screen, or before you get into the game while you're in the loading screen, just so you have a better chance of beating your enemy and a better chance of winning. So I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. Without anything else to say on Vi, this has been your LOL support, and I am out of here.